home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him, it's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
We are live for another edition of Hanging with Hennig, back on the normal time today. No Eagles preseason game bumping me to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. No, we're back following Billy Schwein in the locker room here on 97.3 ESPN. Today's a beautiful day, folks. You know why it's a beautiful day? Because today is the day that football is back. Football is officially back in all of our lives. Over my shoulder, I got Kansas State, Iowa State. We got a lot of football to get to. Eagles, 53-man roster. We're talking about who's going to make the team, who's not going to make the team after what we saw last night. Plus, we got college football, fantasy football, Phillies conversation. I'm going to tell you today why you cannot blame Johan Duran for the loss last night. Today's guest lineup here on Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Pam Maldonado, she covers college football and the NFL for ESPN Bet and ESPN.com. She will join us coming up in about 25 minutes from now. We got our weekly fantasy football segment. Andy McNamara and I are going to review the running backs coming up at 1:20 p.m. today. And also in the 2 o'clock hour, you will hear from South Jersey boxing promoter, the man from Boxing Insider Promotions. They put on 5 great fights, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City the last 2 years. Like Goldberg, the man from South Jersey, he's going to join us because one of the guys who, if you went to the fights the last couple years with Boxing Insider Promotions, one of the young men who has gone undefeated, who you saw first in Atlantic City, Justin Figueroa from Holy Spirit High School, he is fighting for a championship belt tonight, and we'll talk to Larry Goldberg about the rise of just-in-time Justin Figueroa. All that and more. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Last night was a very interesting night if you're a Phillies sports fan, because what did you see last night? You saw an Eagles preseason game and a Phillies game happening simultaneously. And let's be realistic. I understand the majority of people were not watching the preseason game. You were watching the Phillies game. And that's why we're going to start with the Phils specifically, because we got a lot of time to get to football today. But as I told you to start the show, if you're the person who's blaming Johan Duran for why they lost the game last night, well, to be blunt, you're an ignoramus. Here's why. When you watch that game from beginning to end, you realize that the loss of the game last night, which, by the way, 5-4 score, only one run game. One run. Last night was an example of why Philly sports fans have anxiety with this team. The Philadelphia Phillies left 7 men on base last night. They scored the majority of their runs in the middle innings. They struggled again against Cavalli. And I don't care what Rob Thompson says. Rob Thompson can paint it all fancy as much as he wants. But the reality is that Cavalli was a horrible minor league pitcher. He was not a top prospect. He was not elite. You faced the guy once, he shut you down. Now, you struggled to get any runs off of him until the 6th inning? And how, in what reality does the Nationals bullpen shut you down? Rutledge, Poulin? Seriously? That's what we're talking about here? Last night, the Phillies offense struck out 10 times. 3 of those strikeouts were by the man who's been one of your better hitters, Trey Turner. Kyle Schwarber walked twice, but he was 0 for 3. Then you had the whole fiasco where they're taking Kepler out and they're putting Bader in. That move didn't work. Really, the only guy who was a productive hitter last night for you was Bryson Stott. And we would feel a lot differently about JT Realmuto's home run if, and I say if, he didn't have that horrible throwing error. Now, I give Realmuto a ton of credit, okay? He got up in front of the media, and he was very, very, very specific. When he told the media, I shouldn't have made that throw. And he did a great job explaining it last night. He said that basically the pitch that was thrown, he was never allowed to set his feet. And so, because he could never set his feet, that's why he threw the ball away. And he says, ultimately, he said, I should have never thrown that ball. And frankly, you could make an argument that if JT Realmuto doesn't throw that ball away, then maybe that game is not a loss for Philadelphia. But I want to take the offense off the hook. I don't want to be the guy who sits there and says, well, you know, if this happened and that happened in the 9th inning, how about everything that happened in the innings before? Remember, you had opportunities throughout the game to score runs, and you didn't. You just didn't. And as I said, this is why Philly sports fans have anxiety with the Phillies. Because you know their offense can be better. You know their offense is capable of more. You know they can do more. And when they don't, games like last night happen. Now, look, I'm not going to extrapolate from one game onto the entire season. Okay? I'm not going to be that guy. But I'm also not going to ignore reality. And the reality is that the Philadelphia Phillies, if this offense cannot find a shred of consistency, this is going to be a rough year. Because when they get to the postseason and you look at the teams in the National League that you would potentially be facing in the postseason, most of those teams you are going to need to keep up with offensively. Because the Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago Cubs, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have all scored more runs this year than you. The only legitimate playoff teams that have scored less runs than the Phillies at 608 this year, the only ones are the Mets and the Padres. The Mets, they're stumbling and fumbling to the finish line. They're 6 games behind the Phillies. I'm not going to act like the Mets are the most dangerous team for Philadelphia this year. They were much more dangerous last year. But the Padres are concerning because the reason why the Padres are in a divisional race in the National League West with the Dodgers is because of their pitching. The Padres have the kind of pitching to make Philadelphia's offense go completely nowhere. And if you end up in a series where there's a lot of low-scoring games, do we really have the faith? Do we really have the belief in guys not named Turner, Schwarber, and Harper to step up consistently. Because Bohm looked great his first game back. Since then, he's been okay. Do we really believe in Nick Castellanos, Max Kepler, Harrison Bader? No, we don't. Brendan Marsh has been good. He's not been great. So I don't want to throw the guy under the bus, okay? I'm not trying to be that guy. But if there's a big moment in the game and the guy you're hoping stepping up for you is Brendan Marsh, yikes. Again, this is less about the game last night than it is about the postseason. Right now, if you look at the standings in the National League and you look at the teams that will be in the postseason, again, we're projecting it out, but it's reasonable to assume that the cutoff line right now is the Mets. Because everyone after the Mets and the Reds, they're just too far out of it, okay? If the season ended today, the Milwaukee Brewers would have the first round bye. They would have the number one spot in the National League. And if the postseason started today, you were looking at a wild card with 3 teams that are very, very interesting matchups for you. I mentioned the Cubs and their high-powered offense. The Padres with their elite pitching staff and their timely hitting offense. And then you have the Mets. And I'm sure for some Philly fans, there's some anxiety with the Mets after what happened last year. So I'm not going to act like it's a foregone conclusion Philadelphia to get a deep playoff run. By the way, the Reds are 1.5 games behind the Mets in the wild card. But again, if you look at the National League and you say, all right, the Phillies could get a first-round bye, it would, if the season ended right now, it would be Mets versus Cubs, Dodgers versus Padres. I'm sorry, Dodgers versus Mets, Cubs versus Padres in the wild card round. And then the Phillies would get, so the way it works in the postseason is the top seed gets whoever the lowest seed remaining is, and the Phillies would get the other team. But of those 4 teams, Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, Mets, are we really confident that the Phillies offense, with their inconsistencies, with their issues, with their flailing, that they're going to be able to ride with those teams? Josh Hennig hanging out with you, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. 609-403-0973 is the text board. That's where you can join the conversation about the Phillies. Let's hit on the football really quick because we got college football odds picks to get to coming up. You know we've been doing this since 2018 when legal sports betting dropped in New Jersey. We've been giving you picks every football season. Myself, Josh Hennig, live in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Last night was our first Football Friday show. We're going to do it every Friday live on YouTube, and X gave you the first batch of picks right now. Kansas State, Iowa State was one of our picks last night. We will keep you updated on that game. It's very early in the... I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of what they're calling this game because it's an Irish term that I'm not familiar with. So I'm just going to say Iowa State and Kansas State are playing in Ireland. Okay? We'll just stick with that. As Rocco Beck just got completely shocked by the blitz coming off the edge. I mean, that guy went completely unblocked, hit the quarterback. So we'll keep you updated on that throughout the day. We got Pam Maldonado joining us in less than 10 minutes from now to join the conversation about college football this season. We got some over-under picks for you as well here for the team totals on 97.3 ESPN. But let's hit on the Eagles really quick. While you cannot extrapolate a ton from the game last night, I think there's one thing that we know for sure. And the one thing we know for sure is that it's very, very, very obvious that when you're looking at the Eagles and how they're building out this roster, I think it's very, very clear that the Philadelphia Eagles, the players who were in training camp, at least one of those guys is getting swapped out for someone who's not here. Because there was a lot of interesting decisions that were made last night. Number one, Matt Pryor did not dress for the game. The way he has been treated this training camp and preseason, you might have been under the impression that his job, his roster spot, might be on the line. After last night, he looks like he is a stone-cold lead pipe lock for the roster. Shocking, I know. Who would have thought? I didn't. I'm just as surprised everybody else is. You saw also last night Darius Cooper get a lot of run. And I think Philadelphia, one of their decisions has to be made. It's very important as wide receiver. Because Darius Cooper has looked really good in moments and not so good in others. In the last preseason game, he had a pretty bad drop in the game. So you're kind of going into last night wondering, how many more opportunities is this guy going to get to solidify his spot on the roster? Well, he didn't do much better last night. He had another drop last night. Now, does that mean that Philadelphia doesn't want to keep him? No. For everything that's been reported by everyone who covers the team, they love Darius Cooper. They want him on the team. But could the way he performed the last two games be an opportunity for Philadelphia to sneak him through waivers? Because the guy who played well last night, he's not making this team. Terrace Marshall Jr., I am telling you right now, he is getting cut. He's had injuries in camp. He's been very underwhelming during training camp and the inter-squad practices with the Browns. He had a big game last night. He ain't making the team. You didn't acquire John Mechie III just to see him play one preseason game. This is a guy who was a stud wide receiver at Alabama. Very, very unfortunate health issues derailed his career. And with the way Ainias Smith has played on special teams, I think he can still make this team. Now, again, Ainias Smith, another guy who had drops last night. And to me, I think that is why when this roster is decided, it's going to be very interesting to see, where does Philadelphia weigh these roster spots? Because with no one differentiating themselves at the number 2 cornerback position between Bennett and Jackson, I think Ringo's completely out of it. I think he makes the team as a special teams player, but he ain't making the team as the outside corner. But between the cornerback number 2, the safety position, and wide receiver and tight end, there's going to be some interesting decisions made by 4 p.m. on Tuesday. And I think some of those decisions are going to surprise all of us, because the way the preseason game went last night, with Kyle Mahora getting all the reps, just makes you wonder what's going on with this roster. Because we know what the starters are, but the backups are important. Because remember, Dallas Goedert misses 4 games a year. A.J. Brown, he's had a lingering hamstring issue during training camp. We know in the defensive backfield, Makuba has missed time with an injury during training camp and preseason. How do all those injuries impact the initial 53-man roster when it drops Tuesday at 4 p.m.? Josh Hennig hanging out with you, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. And we are live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. Coming up on the other side, we'll dig deeper into college football. We got the preview with the best in the business, Pam Maldonado, ESPN sports betting analyst. She joins me next on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday, August 31st. The lights shine bright as two college football powerhouses collide. It's number 6 Notre Dame versus number 10 Miami. Catch every snap, hit, and highlight with play-by-play from J.P. Shadrick and expert analysis from the 1992 Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta. Kickoff is at 7:30 Eastern, Sunday, August 31st. Don't miss the action, the intensity, and the legacy.
Exclusively on South Jersey's classic rock station, Rock 104.1.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, ClemicPerformanceMethod.com.
Matt Blaney's on 0 down, 0% for 60 months on Rogue, Murano, and Pathfinder. If you have a job, clear at $450 a week, you're virtually approved today. MattBlackNissan.com.
On approved Tier 1 credit through NMAC, negative equity will be refinanced into the vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers cannot be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or visit MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends September 6, 25.
Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Wow, what's this? New shorts, new shirts, and new boots? Floyd, did you go to the Hub?
I did. They have all the summer clothes I need now that it's getting warmer.
Do they have anything for me?
They do. They've got women's shorts, shirts, boots, and more. It's about time you go to the Hub.
Is it time to get a new pair of work boots? Then it's time to get to the Hub. Let their friendly staff help you pick out a pair of comfortable, rugged, and waterproof boots. The Hub offers a complete selection of boots from Wolverine, Carolina, Georgia, Rocky, Ariat, Carhartt, and Timberland Pro. And be sure to check out their line of clothing from Dickies, Carhartt, Ariat, and Grundens. Get to the Hub, specializing in outdoor gear from brands you know and trust. Visit the Hub inside the Summers Point Shopping Center or on Route 40 inside the Mays Landing Diner Shopping Center. Whether you're regular, big, or tall, the Hub fits them all. Here today, here to stay. Also online at summerspointhub.com. No matter what the season, the Hub's got you covered. They have a full line of apparel for men and women, plus an incredible selection of boots for everyone. Come and check out the Hub in Summers Point or Mays Landing.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Getting directions, texting Janine and shipping, on us. The broken coffee maker? That one's still on you, which means you'll save hundreds for your business and get the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and Wi-Fi hotspots on us. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Get a mobile plan and free up the budget to maybe, I don't know, fix that coffee maker? Get mobile on us for 1 year, you guessed it, on us. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 10/9/25. Restrictions apply. New mobile customers only with internet standard service or above. Limited to value of one unlimited intro line apply via 12 monthly internet bill credits. One discount per account. Fastest mobile based on mobile Wi-Fi and cellular data in service areas. Ookla Speed Test Intelligence 2H24.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. College football is finally here. To talk more about it, well, I had to reach out to the queen of the sports betting. You go to ESPN.com for all of her college football coverage, as well as golf and tennis. But that's another conversation another day. It is Pam Maldonado joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. Pam, welcome in. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. You just mentioned that I also do golf. Well, I picked 2 players for the Tour Championship, and they are in first and second. You can't ask for a better start.
I am not surprised by that one bit, to say the least. But so let's get to the college football, though, because, this is something that, people like you and me have been waiting for all year long, right? And let's just break the ice, okay? The big game, Saturday, August 30th. Folks can hear it on our sister station, Rock 104.1, Texas, Ohio State. From a gambling perspective, I know a lot of people look at this game from the Heisman Trophy situation. So talk to me about, I know Arch Manning's a favorite. I know Jeremiah Smith is a guy. Julian Sain just got the starting quarterback gig. Break it down for us, Pam.
So you want to first start with the Heisman chat. Julian Sain, Arch Manning. Who has a better shot at winning the Heisman? I'm going to go Sain might be the better football answer, but if we're talking about Heisman narratives, Arch Manning is built for it. I also have to give the caveat, I am a Longhorn, by the way, but I come purely objective with this. And the name alone buys Arch Manning headlines before he even throws a pass. ESPN is ready. College Game Day is ready. Every casual fan who's never watched Texas football in their life knows the Mannings. So it's nostalgia, it's pedigree, it's hype rolled into one. If Manning does, in fact, put together a strong September with a couple of, hey, did you see that moment? A couple of highlights. He makes it into the top 10. He's absolutely going to dominate the conversation. The media loves a legacy story, and the Heisman is as much of a popularity contest as it is a football award. Saying, in my opinion, he could absolutely outplay him, but Arch doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be good enough with the Manning name attached.
Now, when you say good enough, what is like a reasonable expectation for a guy like him who, let's be realistic, he had 2 starts last year against teams with defenses that are probably the equivalent to D2?
I mean, if Arch Manning can take Texas to a playoff spot in their first year with as much turnover as they've had, because they lost a lot of players to the NFL. It was upwards of like 26 players to the NFL. You have a almost brand new team. And if Arch Manning is at the helm of that, taking them into the playoff, being competitive, or they even knock out Ohio State week 1, automatically he not just enters the season as the favorite, he will remain the favorite.
With all that being said, talk to us about Jeremiah Smith. Is that somebody that you're looking at for any bets this year?
If there is a preseason wager that if I was forced to make a preseason wager on who's going to win the Heisman, I'm taking Jeremiah Smith all day. This isn't a Heisman sleeper. He's already playing like the guy who everybody else is chasing. Jeremiah Smith walked into Ohio State last season as a true freshman and instantly looked like that guy. I know that phrase is kind of overused in a lot of sports narratives, but Jeremiah Smith legit is that guy. And now he has a year under his belt. He's stronger. He's faster. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. He is a matchup nightmare. He's too big for corners. He's too fast for safeties and then too smooth for anybody to really slow down. Ohio State's offense is absolutely going to run through him. Julian Sayin got the start. He is a young quarterback. They're going to rely on Smith for a lot of big time moments. You have big TV games right out the gate, week 1, huge stages, highlight opportunities everywhere. If Smith stacks a couple of 150-yard, 2-touchdown performances, he's not going to be in the Heisman conversation. He's going to control it. And you're getting really good odds for him because he's not Arch Manning. He's no longer a breakout candidate. Everyone's already putting him on this pedestal like he's expected to win at some point in his college career. What needs to happen is he needs to click with Sayin. So if those two find rhythm early, Smith's production is going to explode.
Talking with ESPN betting analyst Pam Maldonado here on Hanging with Hennig. Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios on 97.3 ESPN. Stick with the Big Ten. A lot of Penn State alumni in this area, Pam. I think this 10.5 wins is intriguing because if they make the playoff and they make a couple of rounds, that's an opportunity for extend that number.
Right.
When you look at Penn State, are they in a position maybe like Ohio State last year where it's like we don't know if they can win the championship in the conference, but they can make a deep playoff run?
In short, yes. Penn State could win the national title without winning the Big Ten. And you mentioned a few things need to align. Ohio State's 24 run, it showed that it can be done. Ohio State lost to Michigan, didn't even play in the Big Ten championship, and still made the playoff and then ran the table. Now, in the 12-team playoff, the path is even easier. Penn State could drop a game, miss out on the Big Ten crown, and still get in. Conference title is nice, especially this year because they're getting those buys, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker anymore. And it's actually happened in other times before. Alabama in 2017, they lost their conference championship, but still won the Natty. Georgia in 2021, they lost the SEC title game to Alabama, got into the playoff, and came back to beat them in the national title. Nebraska, we're going way back to 2001, lost their way out of the conference title game, but still made it, won under the BCS system. So I know that those were years back, and we're talking about the new 12 system. But in the new playoff system, of course, there's new rules that apply, but it absolutely can be done. And they have a really good roster to put themselves in position to either still win the conference for an opportunity or lose a game and still be in.
We've talked about Penn State, Ohio State, but who is their biggest threat in the Big Ten in 2025?
Ohio State. I am so high on Ohio State. The big difference between Ohio State last year and this year is that they have a new quarterback, but all of the parts are there for Ohio State to not only make it into the playoff, also win the Big Ten, potentially knock off Michigan, go back-to-back titles, because the unit, the Buckeyes as a whole, have the infrastructure. They have their returning players, and the only question mark that you have is Sayin. But we've seen in previous years when your roster is so stacked, the lack of quarterback play, especially if you are a mobile quarterback, can kind of be made up for because the roster around you is so good. And the team that comes to mind is Mac Jones. I don't believe that he was a spectacular quarterback by any means, but his receiving core was absolutely elite. Alabama got it done. I believe that Ohio State has a lot of similar qualities.
All right, so let's do a six-pack of picks here with Pam Maldonado from ESPN Bet. Of course, you can check out all of our coverage at ESPN.com, college football, golf, tennis, the whole 9 yards, also the NFL as well. I've been seeing your previews over there in that category as well. But let's do with the over-unders. Now, for those who don't know, Pam and I have picked the teams, but Pam doesn't know what I think of these numbers. So this is going to be her stating her case, and I'm just basically going to say if I agree or disagree, and I'm just going to be that guy. So let's start. South Carolina, 7.5, Pam.
Give me the over, South Carolina with the Gamecocks. This feels sneaky good because quarterback Lenore Sellers changes everything for this team. Sellers is a true dual threat with legit Jaden Daniels vibes. That's who I think of. That's his comp. The kind of quarterback who can carry an offense when things break down. And the defense definitely lost some veterans. That's my worry because the strength of South Carolina last year was its defense. But this game is still aggressive. You've still got playmakers in Dylan Stewart and Jalen Kilgore to lean on. The Gamecocks closed 24 seasons, 6 straight wins, and now they've got confidence, they've got momentum, and they have a clear identity on offense, which is something they didn't start the season with last year. So if the young skill guys can make a leap, Sellers, it's the putting my trust in him as a quarterback can get them to 8 wins and cash this ticket.
Now, I agree with you on this one. I not just you mentioned Kilgore. That's an important part because he's got to make up for the losses of guys like Kennard and Sands and all those guys. So, to me, if he can step up, I just think this is a team that could really threaten the SEC East and maybe make some trouble for people in getting to that conference championship game. Let's go to UNLV, 8.5 wins. Dan Mullen now the head coach. How is Pam Maldonado feeling?
Dan Mullen, give me the under 8.5. It's basically a bet against the hype because you mentioned Dan Mullen. Great hire, but this is a full reset on the UNLV Rebels. Only 2 starters returned. The entire offensive line is brand new. They're still figuring out the quarterback between Anthony Calandria and Alex Orji. Both are supposed to be playing in week 0. You do have a running back in Jaden Thomas who is solid, but it's really hard to see him finding the same running lanes behind a rebuilt front. Defensively, it's more turnover, new faces literally everywhere. And the schedule doesn't help them either because they have trips to Boise State, to Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno late in the year when all of that depth is going to get tested. There's talent, but you need to have veteran and cohesive talent. So 9-3 feels like a stretch with so many new parts. 7-5 to me makes more sense. I'm in on the under.
I'm leaning under 2, but I do think they get to 8. I think that they have enough to at least get there. But like you said, the hype.
But you're still an under.
The hype might be too much. Just might be a little too much there. Let's go with Alabama, 9.5. Name brand. Kellen DeBoer, the head coach. New quarterback at Alabama this year.
I'm getting so much flack for this one because I did a top 25 article for ESPN, and immediately it was Alabama under 9.5, Alabama plus 125 to miss the college football playoff. And it sounds wild because it's an Alabama name, but this isn't the same Alabama defense that we are used to. Last year, they were 52nd against the run, gave up points on 85% of red zone trips on the road. That was bottom 10 in the country. Looking at their schedule, they are going to Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, Auburn, all on the road. New quarterback, the offense can maybe keep them alive. I expect a lot of shootouts. Shootouts become coin flips. Losing key parts on defense when you were already suspect to begin with in a 12-team playoff, 10-2 is probably not going to cut it. This scares me. It scares some people, but they're also not. Alabama is also not the biggest name anymore in the SEC, I believe. Crimson Tide, the cracks are starting to show.
This is one I'm probably the most passionate about. Give me the under on this 9.5 all day. I absolutely hate the way this roster is constructed. I think DeBoer was a bad hire at Alabama. He does not recruit that area well. And for me, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be surprised if they win 7 or 8 games. Like I think this could be an absolute dumpster fire because you mentioned the coin flip. You know how it is. That coin flip flips the other way real quick when you're depending too much on offense.
I totally agree with you. I made a statement of I'm not sure that Kalen DeBoer is a good fit for Alabama. and I have received so much smoke for that because you can be a great coach. Absolutely. It doesn't make you a great fit for the players that you have at your disposal. And I don't think the two are combining right now. They're not cohesive.
You also never want to be the man who follows the man. So there's always that factor as well. All right, 3 more for our 6-pack of over-unders with Pam Maldonado from ESPN.com. Kansas State, 8.5. They're playing in Dublin today. Talk to me about K-State.
I am so excited for K-State, like overly excited. Like I'm in on a love letter with Avery Johnson right now because the kid is a real deal. He has 2,800 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 600 yards on the ground, and he barely turns the ball over. He is aggressive. He pushes the ball downfield. Avery Johnson is a legit dual threat quarterback who can finish drives on his own. And that's the kind of quarterback that you want to build a season around. Surround him with one of the best front sevens in the Big 12, a loaded backfield and explosive skill guys. And this team, honestly, I am so high on K-State, like 10 wins written all over it to win the Big 12, to go into the playoff, to maybe make some noise. They could potentially be last year's Arizona State. And sure, like the offensive line, the defensive line is potentially going to be like the question mark. The secondary is basically brand new, but the upside is definitely worth betting on. I think K-State has the roster, they have the quarterback, and they definitely have the schedule to lean on. They won the Big 12 back in 2022, and I think this team is going to be stronger than that one.
I like the over on K-State, but it's more so because of Kleiman than Johnson. They were 6-1 when he has 60% completion percentage or better, which means if he faces a team that's got a good defensive game plan, it might be problematic. But I think Kleiman is going to take advantage of a weird schedule this year. So I do like the over, but I got to admit, I'm not as passionate about it as I am about the Alabama pick.
There's some, what happens is I do a lot of these things, right? So I've written some of these predictions multiple times. I've done a video for it. I've got on ESPN Air on television for ESPN Bet. I've done this multiple times, different versions, different responses, different scenarios. So it's not just me regurgitating the same thing. I'm looking for multiple reasons, and I continuously find new reasons to like K-State, which just like it strengthens my conviction in it.
The next one I also have a very intense conviction about, just to warn you, okay? Hawaii 5.5. Anybody's listening to me here on 97.3 ESPN knows, since sports betting became legal in New Jersey in 2018, Hawaii has been one of my go-to picks over the years. So I feel very strongly about Hawaii. I know certain books have a 5.5, others have a 6.5, but the opinion for me is the same. Is it the same for you, Pam Maldonado?
I'm assuming that you love them just as much as I do. I think they're going to be your favorite late night sweat. You know, the one where you're down, you've been down for the day, and then you see Hawaii kicking off at 11:30 p.m. Your hoodie is on, your eyes are half shut, and you're like, you know what? Let's just give it a whirl. Except the problem is, or not the problem, but the benefit is that back in Hawaii might actually be a very good wager to make this season. Timmy Chang finally has a roster that's built in his image. Redshirt freshman quarterback Mika Alejado, he is legit. First career start, he had nearly 500 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and now he's stepping into a full-time role with legit weapons around him. 7 starters are back on defense. The schedule skips Boise State, and all 7 home games are winnable. So this team, Hawaii, can actually get to 7 or 8 wins without needing a miracle. So yeah, if you're staying up late night watching the Hawaii hammer it, because at least if you find them in underdog spots, that's what I'm looking for. I like Hawaii over 5.5. You said the line is now 6.5. I like them at 6.5 as well.
I like them to win 9 games.
Hey, I don't know if I'm that bold, but yes.
Because the thing to me is their road games, I don't think Colorado State's as good as they were last year. I don't think San Jose State is as good as they were last year. And if what you and I talked about, UNLV is correct, that game, I think it's the second to last game of the year for Hawaii, that probably might define who's going to play in the conference championship game to some people's minds. And if Hawaii's hanging around that 7-8 win mark by the end of the year, and then they finish the year with Wyoming, I think it is. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a schedule they should eat up.
Hawaii might be my favorite lookout team in the country. Not for them to we're not talking about national, but I'm talking about when you're sweating a team that can actually cash. If they're going to be put in the underdog role, I believe Hawaii is going to be a team that's going to make you some money as underdogs. I love teams not to just cover, but to win.
Hey, listen, we always talk about here on 97.3 ESPN, you don't win by the teams that you think are going to win. You win by the teams you think that are going to cover. There's a huge, huge difference. Finally, BYU 8.5. I think this is one of the most controversial lines that I've seen anywhere on the internet.
I like the under. I think this team is solid. BYU is solid, but the schedule is a huge grind. They've got road trips too. Texas, Utah, UCF, plus tough swing games against Arizona and K-State. That is a lot of coin flips. And you can't drop more than 3 if you want the over. So that offense should be fine, I believe. But the defense gave up way too many big plays last year. And I'm not sure that the portal fixes that overnight. 8 feels like a ceiling. 7-5, 8-4 is way more realistic than 9-3.
We finally found one we disagree on. I think they go over. You mentioned the offense. I think the offense is going to overwhelm a lot of people. I really only feel like there's only a couple of games I'm really worried about. At Iowa State, I think at Arizona could be a little dangerous as well. So to me, I think that there's too many winnable games for them where their offense could just go nuts.
I wasn't high on BYU last year, and it's just maybe this is more of a biased opinion, but I wasn't high on them last year. I think they got lucky by schedule. I think they were fortunate in a lot of spots, and I just believe that this year it's going to carry over, and we're going to see the BYU team.
I think that a lot of people and not to throw you under the bus, I think a lot of people are underestimating Bear Brockmeyer. I think that kid, he went there for a reason. He could have gone to a lot of other places. He's kind of got, I'm not saying he is, but he's kind of got J.D. Daniels freshman year Arizona State vibe for me.
Okay. We'll see.
Listen, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, okay? But
me too. I've given it, it's already, we're not even into week 0 yet. We're like still a couple, tomorrow or today? We're barely about to kick off week 0. I've already made 60 plus predictions. So here we are. We're going to be wrong.
Listen, you can't get them all right, but you can at least have the right information. And Pam Maldonado always gives that to you at ESPN.com, covering the NFL, college football, golf, and tennis as well. She's got you covered all year round at ESPN.com. Pam, appreciate you jumping on. And this was fun. We'll have to do it again.
We'll do it again.
Thanks again to Pam Maldonado joining me here on Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Before we hit the break, you can get back to the text board on the other side at 609-403-0973. I just want to say, I said it last night on the live stream for Football Friday. I'll say it again here. I am still perplexed why Alabama has such a high win total. It's almost like the odds makers are begging you to pick the under. It's plus 100 for the under bet. And it's one of those deals where I always tell you guys here on 97.3 ESPN, because we've been doing this since 2018. You got to read between the lines. You got to figure out, okay, what is real, what is not. I genuinely think that the reason why Alabama's number is so high is because I think the odds makers are assuming that people are going to take bets on the over. But we know better. That schedule is ridiculous. There's no way Alabama can win 10 games in a regular season with that schedule unless everything breaks for them perfectly. Thanks again to Pam Maldonado for joining me here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the Phillies and Eagles conversation on the other side. Plus, don't forget Andy McNamara fantasy football conversation at 1:20 today here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are streaming live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Hello, my name is William Reynolds, the Atlantic County Prosecutor. A properly worn helmet is the single most effective safety device available to reduce brain injury and death by as much as 88%. More than 70% of e-bike and scooter crashes occur at driveways or intersections. Just like driving, riding an e-bike requires the full focus and attention of the rider. Consuming even a small amount of alcohol or drugs can dull the senses, decrease reaction times, and hamper judgment, vision, and alertness. Never text, listen to music, or use anything that distracts you by taking your eyes, ears, or full attention off the road and traffic. This is a call to action for everyone in the community to educate our youth, be informed about the dangers of riding e-bikes and scooters, and we need to come together to keep our community and our children safe. This is Prosecutor William Reynolds wishing everyone a safe, healthy, and happy rest of summer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic, semaglutide injection 0.5 milligrams.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN as we are back in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. And don't forget, if you're going to go out to watch the Phillies game this evening, or you want to go looking for a place to hang out this weekend, go visit my friends over at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. If you want to watch the game with the audio on the TVs, well, you go to the inside bar. If you want to hang out on the back deck, you can do that and grab some great food and drink. Or if you want some live music with your Phillies versus Nationals game tonight, go check out the yard outside. You can do it all this summer. Only a few more weeks until Labor Day weekend and then local summer. You want to enjoy the yard and the back deck before the weather gets a little cooler. Well, you want to check out yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. We will be there next Saturday for our next remote here on 97.3 ESPN's Hanging with Hennig. We will be out there hanging out in the yard. We hope you come and join us. We will have prize giveaways next week as we are ramping up for the football season. Of course, the place to watch all of your Phillies and Eagles games with the sound on is a yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. By the way, the first touchdown of the college football season was thrown by Rocco Becht for Iowa State. This game has actually been pretty wild because Kansas State started out pretty rough offensively, but thanks to 2 turnovers they've gotten in this game, it's now a 7-7 tie game. But hey, this is one of those games where if you love football, you're just happy a good game is on, okay? You're just happy a good game is on television and not some whatever fest going on. I wanted to hit on really quick about the Eagles because we're going to do a projection of 53-man roster coming up on the other side. I got my notes here in the 97.3 ESPN studios. And I think one of the biggest conversations we have about the Eagles is when we're looking ahead to the upcoming season. I heard Billy Schweim in the locker room, the guys talking about the difficulty in the schedule here on 97.3 ESPN. And I just want to say, I'm not as concerned about the Eagles' schedule as I am about how they handle mentally the schedule. This is an Eagles team that has had one of the hardest, toughest training camps of the Nick Sirianni era. The coaches have said it. The players have said it. I mean, Jordan Mailata said in one interview that he is just absolutely exhausted from some of these training camp practices. You have guys getting sick. You have guys, having to leave the practice field because they're nauseous. They're practicing so hard in the heat. The Eagles their approach to prepare for the season for this difficult schedule, it's legit. And I think when they go to Kansas City in week 2, when they go to Tampa in week 4, they're going to be much more prepared than they were in previous years. And I think that's a big part of this conversation. The Eagles' preparation for the season is high level. It is elite. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Philadelphia has gone out of their way as an organization to train and prepare for this schedule. The question is, how is their health going to hold up? As we mentioned earlier here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN, how do the injuries in training camp to Landon Dickerson and A.J. Brown and Drew Makuba and others, how does that impact the season? Because again, you got 5 teams that are potential playoff teams in the first 5 weeks of the season. Will that hard training pay off? We'll project the 53-man roster and check the text board coming up next, 609-403-0973. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Join the Sports Bash every Monday live at the Fanatic Sportsbook in the gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. Get your game on with the elevated bar and lounge, 12 slot machines, blackjack, roulette, and a dedicated area with 4 betting windows and 11 kiosks. The ultimate sportsbook experience. Go where fans become fanatics. The Fanatic Sportsbook in the gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. And join the Sports Bash live from 2 to 6 with me, Mike Gill, every Monday.
home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Hour 2 of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Streaming live on YouTube and X. Subscribe, like, share with your friends at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Still to come in about 20 minutes from now. We will talk with Andy McNamara for our weekly fantasy football conversation here on 97.3 ESPN. As always, you guys can join the conversation. Phillies, Eagles, college football, fantasy football, 609-403-0973. That is the text board. As promised, we're going to get into a little bit more Eagles conversation here. It's still 7-7, by the way, Kansas State at Iowa State, as Iowa State is backed up against their own goal line. Really good pass there by Rocco Becht. But anyway, keep you updated on that. We'll see if these teams are scoring any more points. These turnovers have really slowed down the process of this game. But as I mentioned in the first hour, the Philadelphia Eagles have some very interesting decisions coming up, because those decisions were not necessarily made on the field in training camp, at practice, at inter-squad practices, at preseason, because there are 3 positions that we are not fully sure about going into this year. And those positions are very important, because we have seen over the years in the NFL, not just with the Eagles, but the entire NFL, if you don't have quality depth, not just number of bodies, okay? This is something that Adam Kaplan, Jeff Mosher, and Andrew DiCecco talk about a lot with the Inside the Birds podcast, and when they join Mike Gill for Football at 4 every Monday through Friday here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. The quality of your depth is more important than the number of people you have on the roster necessarily. So when I'm looking at the Eagles roster and I'm projecting out what I think the roster is going to look like, the 3 position groups I am most curious about are, on the offense, wide receiver and offensive line. Because if anything happens to A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith, who's coming into the game? And then on the offensive line, we already know Dickerson, that's a coin flip if he's actually going to get a chance to be there for opening night. And I'm not fully convinced he's going to be. You know, everybody can put on a positive face all they want, but I don't know if they're actually going to get him out there. So I'm very, very, very curious about what they do with the offensive line depth. On defense, the 2 positions I am most curious about are cornerback and defensive line. Again, there's a battle at the cornerback position. How's that going to go? Defensive line. If anything were to happen, even if it's like a cramp, okay, let's say they're in Kansas City or Tampa and the humidity is through the roof, and Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis, maybe they didn't hydrate enough, maybe not enough Gatorade or something for the game, I don't know, and they have to leave the game for an extended number of time, and they got to bring somebody else in. Who is coming in those situations? Remember last year, Darius Slay got injured multiple times. It was a huge reason why they let him go. Slay could not stay healthy last year. Now, I'm still a little perplexed why they didn't bring back Isaiah Rodgers, who played great in his absence, but it's a conversation another day. So who is going to play the second corner spot is so important, and if anyone gets injured, who's backing those guys up? And last night's preseason game didn't give us a lot of answers to these questions. So I gathered a lot of information from training camp, from inter-squad practices, from the preseason games, from all the people who cover the Eagles. I've kind of gathered it into a nice little encapsulated Eagles 53-man roster projection that I'm going to bring you right here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Let's start with quarterback. The reason why you saw Kyle McCord play the entire game last night was because of the fact that I think the Eagles want to make sure McCord knows the full offense before the season. I would not read too much into the fact of his completion percentage because, one, he has had 2 games now, the preseason game 2 and now preseason game 3, where his receivers are dropping balls left and right. The fact that we demerit the quarterback when a receiver can't do his job, to me, has always been one of the dumbest things in sports. So I can't ding Kyle McCord when he has, I believe it was 5 drops in game 2, and it was 4 last night. So you could argue that he should have 9 more completions in the preseason. Also, he's playing behind an offensive line that was basically the equivalent of the JV, if not the freshman team, last night. That was some poor offensive line play, and you got to give the Jets credit for not just sitting back and letting the Eagles do whatever they want offensively. So I think McCord makes this team. I think your 3 quarterbacks, obviously, is Jalen Hurts, then is Tanner McKee, then is Kyle McCord. Supposedly, the reports are that Tanner McKee has some finger issues, some finger injury. That's why he had his hand in his pocket the whole game last night. Read into that what you want. But I tend to think that all 3 guys will be good to go. Running back. Running back is pretty straightforward. Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, A.J. Dillon, and Ben Van Sumeren. For those who don't know, Van Sumeren is the fullback on this team, and he plays a lot of special teams. But the more important part of this conversation is Shipley and Dillon both prove that they are more than capable of playing the roles they're going to be asked to. I don't think we're going to see Saquon take on as heavy a run load this year. I think that in some of those, short run plays, goal line situations, Saquon will not be the primary back, or he'll be one of 2 backs in the backfield with A.J. Dillon. I think Dillon, they're going to let him take some of the punishment off of Barkley in terms of running the ball. Shipley has proven that he is more than able to fill the Kenny Gainwell 3rd down running back void. As I said, Van Sumeren's the fullback. So now we're at 7. Again, we got to get to 53 with this roster. Wide receivers where it gets interesting. I'm seeing a lot of conflicting reports about what the Eagles are going to do. I tend to think Philadelphia, as of right now, is going to keep 6. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson, John Mechie. That's the 4. The next 2 after that is where people are arguing. Because, as I mentioned, Darius Cooper, for as much as he has impressed people, as well as he has done in terms of practices, giving him a chance to play, get more reps with the second team, the first team, the drops in these games, I don't care who you are, you have to be a little concerned. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that either him or Ainias Smith make this team. But I think it's more likely, at least as of Saturday, August 23rd, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN, that both Cooper and Smith make the team, especially with Johnny Wilson season-ending surgery after he sustained knee and ankle injuries. So now I got 6 receivers on the team. Remember, Ainias Smith, kick returns, punt returns, can play the slot. And unless the Eagles find a team willing to trade for him, I think he's on the team. So now I'm up to 13. Tight end, I think, is pretty clear. Philadelphia is going with Goddard, Calcaterra. They traded Harrison Bryant because they weren't happy with him. I think Kylan Granson gets cut and he lands on the practice squad. I think you go with 2 tight ends there. Now you're at 17. Offensive line is going to be 10. Philadelphia always keeps 10 on the O-line. We know the starters from left to right. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson. It's the 5 after that I think is a huge debate. Because the only few people I think are a lock for this roster are Matt Pryor and Jake Kendall. Because Kendall has shown himself to be an above-average center. And for a team that did not have a legitimate backup center last year, this is a huge deal to have him on the roster. And Pryor, as I mentioned, he did not even dress last night. The guy wasn't even in uniform. He was just in street clothes. So that tells me he is a lock to make the team. He would probably be your primary backup right tackle and right guard. The final 3 spots, I think, is where the debate is. Because Philadelphia has given Lamb a lot of run at left tackle. I'm certainly not impressed. Darian Kennard has been cross-training at guard and tackle. They seem to like him a lot. Hinton is the guy they drafted and they like a lot, but he still needs development. He needs work. Okay, let's just be realistic. He needs work. Trevor Keegan is the guy who was drafted last year, and by all reports, he hasn't popped in training camp. He has not stood out in any scenario, whether it's the inter-squad practices or in the games. So I don't even know if Keegan makes the team. He might make the practice squad, but I don't know if he makes the roster. And then you got everybody's favorite guy to ask questions about, which is Brett Toth. Brett Toth got a lot of the first-team reps at left guard without Landon Dickerson. So does that mean he makes the team? I'm going to assume he is, because Philadelphia speaks very highly of him and his versatility. So if you like him and his versatility, he's got to make the team. I think Keegan gets cut and lands on the practice squad. Beyond Keegan, though, I'm not 100% sure who else lands on the practice squad. But I think 1 or 2 other guys will get there. Maybe Lamb does. I'm not totally convinced of that. But I think Trevor Keegan certainly could be a guy who lands on the practice squad. So now we are at 27. Let's go to defense. Defensive line, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Ty Robinson, Moro Ojomo. Those are the 4 obvious ones. I think Gabe Hall has done enough to be the 5th guy, because Gabe Hall is a guy that Philadelphia loves. They appreciate him, and they don't trade away Trevor Booker unless they're bringing him back. Next, we got edge rushers. Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, Azeez Ojulari. I think Patrick Johnson makes it too. I think they like Johnson as a special teams guy and as a backup edge rusher. I think Uche and Ojulari have done enough to make this team, and obviously they love Hunt and they love Nolan Smith. The only caveat is if Philadelphia makes a trade and picks up somebody else's veteran guy, does he get put into the edge mix? The problem is none of these guys have overtly stood out who are going to be the backups. But for right now, I got 10 on the D-line. So now I'm at 37. Linebackers. We know about Bond. We know about Campbell, Trotter Jr., Smile Mondin. Those are the 4. There's no conversation about it. Move on. Now we're at 41. Cornerback. How many do they keep? We know Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean are making this team. I think because Adoree Jackson and Bennett have not settled this second cornerback spot officially, I think they both make a team, as well as Ringo. I think Mac McWilliams has done enough to show that he is a guy that they see as maybe not this year, but maybe next year or the year after, being a huge part of this team's plans. I think Nickerson has done enough to make this team. Not just because of the interception he had last night. I think that he has shown himself to be a good enough backup nickel corner that when they go to put DeJean at safety in certain formations, they probably feel more comfortable right now maybe with Nickerson than with Mac McWilliams in the slot. I think McWilliams' long-term projections as an outside corner. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years, if the defensive alignment, maybe like 3-4 years from now, is Mitchell and McWilliams on the outside and DeJean and Blankenship end up being the safeties, because I don't know if they want to keep DeJean at the nickel corner forever. I think they want to use him as a joker like he was at Iowa years ago. All right? So that gives me 7 corners. I'm at 48. Sorry, I'm at 47. I got 4 safeties. Blankenship, Jones, Makuba, McCollum. Those are the 4 that seem to know defense the most. Those are the 4 that stood out the most. Here's where it gets interesting. You got to have 3 special teams. Elliott, Mann, and Hewlett is the new long snapper. So, if we do the math, 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 receivers. That right there is 13. 2 tight ends is 15. 10 offensive linemen, that's 27. 10 defensive linemen, that's 37. 4 linebackers is 41. I think at least 6 corners make a team that's 47. So then the decision comes down to safety and edge. I think that either Johnson or Nickerson are going to be the odd man out on this team. I think they should make the team. And Philadelphia needs to decide, do they keep 6 receivers or do they keep 6 corners? I don't think they can do both because the numbers don't add up. And you got to decide who can make it through waivers. So Philadelphia, some very, very interesting decisions to make heading into the regular season. Remember, the initial 53-man roster, the team that you see at 4 p.m. on Tuesday may not be the team you see September 4th when the Eagles play the Cowboys, and you can hear that game right here in your home for Eagles football in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. We will continue the football conversation coming up next. Andy McNamara, my fantasy football analyst, my buddy, joins me next as we get into who are the running backs you need to focus on in your fantasy football drafts. We'll tell you next right here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle, and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and Mr. Negadelphia, PJ Corda join me in the studio. The Phillies look to get back in the win column. Struggling Aaron Nola gets the ball for the Phillies, and we will react to all the Saturday night action. Every Sunday during the baseball season, we go on the mound with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, brought to you by Blitz's Market of Ocean City. Tommy analyzes the Phillies and previews Sunday's game. Eagles talking more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
Matt Blaney's on 0 down, 0% for 60 months on Rogue, Murano, and Pathfinder. If you have a job, turn $450 a week, you're virtually approved today. MattBlatneySon.com.
On approved Tier 1 credit through NMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into the vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers cannot be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or visit MattBlatneySon.com for complete details. Offer ends September 6, 25.
Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike.
For the entire month of August, power up your weekends with the Red Tag clearance event at Whitehorse RV Center. Take advantage and score bottom dollar pricing on travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. Whitehorse RV has them all in stock. These vehicles are perfect for tailgating, road trips, and getting away on your terms. There's no games at Whitehorse RV and no pressure. Just real savings on RVs built for freedom and fun. Don't wait. These Red Tag deals won't last. 2 locations to serve you in Williamstown and Galloway. Whitehorse RV Center. Your RV adventure starts here.
Kohl's Back to School sale is here with deals on looks your kids will love all year. Because even though their sad summer is ending, let's be real, some of us are ready. It's time to trade the all-day PJs and always damp swimsuits for styles that'll keep up and hold up so your kids will be ready too. Shop Kohl's Back to School sale and bring on the new year. Select styles, prices good through August 17th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
People will come, Ray.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
People will most definitely come.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Hanging with Hennig, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. Look, you know what time it is. We do fantasy football talk every week here on 97.3 ESPN. And my guy, Andy McNamara, is back for another edition. Of course, we weren't together last week because, well, he had Kings Plate last week, and I had Eagles-Browns. So I don't know who got the better end of that deal. Probably Andy in that situation. Andy, welcome back. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Yeah, it was crazy. The Canadian version of the Kentucky Derby was last Saturday, so I was doing 90-minute live show, and he was like, felt, I'm using Celsius, 40, so that's probably like high 90s in Fahrenheit. And we were roasted and all, but it was great. Surprise win, 18-1 long shot won the race. So it was a very fun day, 17,000 sellout. So it was great. Lots of wicked content at My Railbirds too, if y'all want to check it out. So it was a good day.
Well, let's get to some of the news from the NFL. And I think the most interesting news, because conveniently on this Saturday, we are talking about running backs in fantasy football.
Yeah.
And it was so nice on Friday afternoon for the Commanders and the 49ers to cooperate with our news conversation, because Brian Robinson, who, remember 2 years ago, that was like a dude that you had to pick up in fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And now he goes to the 49ers because the 49ers have like 20 injuries at running back. And now the Washington Commanders are turning into Andy McNamara's least favorite conversation, the running back timeshare. Andy McNamara, I know you are not thrilled about this Washington Commanders backfield.
No, and really, if anything happens to Christian McCaffrey at the 49ers too, that's just a schmoz as well. That's just, forget about it there. This is a confusing move to me, and I understand part of it was he's going to be due a contract, but the Commanders aren't, crippled with salary cap problems. You still have your franchise QB on a rookie deal, and you're going with the lead guy with an aging Austin Eckler. Now, I met Austin Eckler in person in Vegas a couple years ago. Hell of a guy, great man, very friendly, legit. But at this stage, Austin Eckler's not an in between the tackles guy, right? Scat back, can run a bit, aging. They're high on Chris Rodriguez, we know. And Josh, the name to watch for that will be the most overdrafted running back in fantasy football this year, Ja'Cory, call me Bill, Krosky Merritt. 7th round rookie. I don't know what the big deal is. Maybe we're going to be surprised. And we've seen later round running backs can pop up, depends on the system, sure. But this is, you got Rodriguez, they like Krosky Merritt, Jeremy Nichols still floating around as a bit of a pass catcher out of there. What are we expecting fantasy-wise? Like, outside of adding somebody and hope somebody pops, I don't want to rely on any of these guys.
You just mentioned also depends on the offense. Is it fair to say that Washington with Cliff Kingsbury is not an offense that is good for running backs in fantasy football?
I would say so. Like, there's still the opportunity for the short passes, right? Those extended runs, little dump offs, of course. And Eckler's a master at that. But he's aging. Jeremy Nichols can do that, and Rodriguez a bit. I know zero about Krosky Merritt. Like, scouting a 7th round running back wasn't on my fantasy to-do list, but I guess it should be. But yeah, this is not going to be run heavy. And so naturally you sort of keep that in mind when you're drafting a running back. But now you add in just all these names. Like, I guess I would take Eckler first out of them, but am I confident that I can have him as my RB2 in fantasy? No. Like, we're talking about a guy who, and a running back group that are borderline flex options, because what type of volume are we going to see? And when you draft, you don't know how that's going to look in real life. So we're not going to have a clear definition. You can pick your guy, but come week 4, you might look like, oh, I picked the wrong one. Or maybe you fell backwards into the right one.
And I think that's where people are wondering out there, like, when you look, if you have your fantasy football draft coming up, the 97.3 ESPN fantasy football draft is coming up this Wednesday, by the way. We'll be broadcasting live right here on my YouTube and X from Yuri's in Wildwood. Andy is stuck in Canada right now, so he won't be able to be there.
I won't
but
be there. I'm so disappointed.
You will be there virtually. You will be joining us as you were last year on the stream. Was a lot of fun, so I encourage people to tune into the stream again this year. You'll be there. We have a 12-man league for the first time in a few years. I think it was 2018, 2019 was the last time we had a 12-man league. But all 12, we got them all lined up, and we want to thank Yuri's and Wildwood. They're going to be hosting us for our draft party, and you should be like us. Go to Yuri's to schedule your draft party with the happy hour menu, the wings, the buffalo nugs, the whole 9 yards. Yuri's and Wildwood, we thank them for allowing us to host our 97.3 ESPN draft party. 2 years ago, Andy was the league champion.
I got the ring right here, by the way, Josh, if you want to see it again.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
keep it handy.
Show it to the folks watching on the stream. There you go.
Handy.
Yeah,
I tell you, I might have to drive down. That food sounds delicious at Yuri's.
Yeah, trust me, you're going to be.
I'm missing out.
I already know that you're going to say at some point, probably like in the second or third round, you're going to be like, I'm hungry. Like
I know. I'm going to be seeing all the food. What am I going to be eating? I don't know. Okay.
I don't know what your family feeds you, but but back to, so when people are doing their fantasy draft, like we are at Yuri's in Wildwood, you're looking for running backs, but a guy like Austin Eckler, right? That's a guy that's probably like 10th, 12th round at this point.
Got to be, and really only for PPR. You're not touching him in standard. Like if it's not PPR, we're not interested really. And really, to be honest, if you're in a standard league, not PPR, I'm not interested in any of the Washington running backs, except maybe this Krusty Merritt guy who I don't know what the hell he is. Right? Maybe he is in between. I don't know. But no, he's a PPR guy. He's somebody, again, you want to have drafted your 2 starters, and then if Austin Eckler's there, go grab him. Like that would be a high-end option, fill-in, flex type compared to what's probably left at that time in the draft. But certainly, we're not relying on Austin Eckler or any of these guys to be one of your top 2 running backs.
All right, so let's dig into the running backs here. We'll get to a little bit more NFL news near the end of our conversation. But obviously, a lot of people, they're preparing for their fantasy draft. This year is interesting because the traditional names of years past, Andy, they're no longer at the top of the rung, right?
Mm-hmm.
In past years, your Christian McCaffreys, you would pick him maybe number 1 overall, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you would take Saquon Barkley, but we know guys who have 2,000 rushing yard seasons never have more than 1,600 the next year.
Which is still good.
Still good. But
also big 16.
But as a number 1 overall pick in a fantasy draft.
Right. Yeah, and let's face it, Saquon and Christian McCaffrey have those injury histories. Now, Saquon's, we were chatting before, Josh, probably less likely, knock on wood, because he's not playing on that terrible Giants turf anymore.
Right.
But there's still a lot of wear and tear. Christian McCaffrey's a total wild card. I would say if you don't want to spend a high pick on Christian McCaffrey, go get Brian Robinson now for the 49ers as a handcuff, right? Like if you don't have McCaffrey, and maybe especially if you do, you want a handcuff. The trouble is with Kyle Shanahan, we know, he hates fantasy football, Josh. He just throws a skewer in there, right? He just he'll find some guy on the bench and he'll go for 200 yards and you'll drive yourself nuts. But that's the kind of angle where, do I chance taking McCaffrey and Saquon in the first round? They're going to go in the first round.
Right.
But do I take them? And this is one of the years that they're down. Or am I taking him? Maybe he's there at 5. Maybe he's there at 6 and I take him. And then, oh my gosh, I got a fantasy winner here. There's a lot of unknown. And that's the question. Do you do that or do you swing on a young guy, Ashton Gianti, who's going to get a lot of touches in Vegas?
Well, that's where I was going to go next with you. Andy McNamara joining us for our fantasy football conversation each and every Saturday here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Andy, I will hashtag Ask Andy to you, which is Bijan Robinson is rated by a lot of people as the number 1 fantasy running back, but should he be?
Yeah, it is close, and I look at it as this. Who gets I always say, opportunity equals success in fantasy football. The question is, my number 1A, 1B is Jahmyr Gibbs. And if you just look at it with David Montgomery, your first thought is, as usual, it's Montgomery's going to vulture him. But that hasn't, like, Montgomery still gets his, but Gibbs still gets his.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the deterrent that it could be. Do we trust the Atlanta offense? Not really, but who's going to get the ball with Michael Penix entering year 2? I think Bijan is still going to get a lot of touches. I think he's going to pay off. My slight edge goes to Bijan Robinson with Jahmyr Gibbs as the 1B, but boy, it is close. And I might even be flip-flopping before the draft.
And this is why, for me, I love Ashton Genty in the draft, because that dude's going to get the touches. He's going to get the volume. He's going to be the man for the Raiders, right? You know, let's be realistic. Outside of Genty and the tight end,
Bowers.
Bowers, thank you. I was drawing a blank on his name for a second. But aside from those two guys, it's not like the Raiders got a lot of weapons.
You got Jacoby Myers as your top receiver, Josh. Jacoby Myers.
Can he still throw passes? It's only value.
Right. But that's the thing. When we're looking at the fantasy, the opportunity equals success for Giente. He's got to have a lot of action. Bowers has got to have a lot of action because of the lack of quality of receiving options, high-end receiving options. So Giente is there. Now, currently, I'm looking, and Giente is ranked just under Derrick Henry. He's going as the 6th running back off. Now, Derrick Henry's a bulldozer. We know that. But, Josh, it comes for everybody. Time does. I'm thinking if it's between those two on the board, I'll take the young legs. I'll take Giente.
You mentioned about Derrick Henry. Let's hit on that really quick. Derrick Henry says that he wants to rush for 2,000 yards this year. And apparently Lamar Jackson claims that he's all for it and he's going to help him do it. But there's no way, Andy, that this team needs to throw their way back into the game. They're going to keep giving Derrick Henry his touches. Do you believe the Ravens are going to give Henry enough touches to make him valuable enough for somebody in the first round of fantasy football league?
I believe so, because the Ravens' problem comes in the playoffs when Lamar gets inevitably figured out. Regular season, you're going to have your opportunities to run the ball, right? You're going to have cleanup time, and it depends how heavily they really want to focus, because that's an individual goal. So do you want to be running Derrick Henry into the ground week 7, 8, and he's not fresh for the playoffs, or he could get hurt? That's kind of that balance. So I think there's going to be enough opportunities. I just wonder, there are so many miles on those legs. At some point, it has to end. Maybe it's not this year, but maybe it is. And Giente, fresh out of college. Now, he's got a lot of miles on the college front, but certainly not as many as Henry at the pro level.
Right.
Giente is going to get his touches, and Lamar said he's not going to run as much. He's still going to run. Geno Smith ain't running. Like, he'll jog a little bit, but he's not taking off.
No, he's definitely not.
So I think Henry is still, like, if you get Henry instead of Giente, I don't think you should be upset about it. But I just think the opportunity for Giente is higher.
It's ironic that Geno Smith is probably the least athletic West Virginia quarterback of the last 20 years.
Right. Good for I hope he does well. That guy got drafted, looked like he was a total bum, and resurrected this. So it's one of the feel good stories. By all accounts, he's a really good guy, and he is I believe he's the cousin of Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State. And Jeremiah Smith, folks, if you don't watch college football, I know your listeners do, but you know Jeremiah Smith. That guy would have been the first overall pick in a second at 19 years old this year. And I hope the new Ohio State quarterback can keep feeding him, because that guy is a freak show and he's only going to get bigger. He can't even be drafted this year. That's my Jeremiah Smith tangent. I absolutely love the guy. You
must have been listening to us earlier, because we had Pam Maldonado an hour before you came on today, because you're usually 125 every Saturday.
Right.
Pam Maldonado of ESPN came on, and she said that she thinks Jeremiah Smith is a great bet for the Heisman Trophy this year, because she said that young quarterback, Justin saying he's going to feed Smith, and Smith is going to have a legitimate Heisman campaign. I looked up, and yes, Geno and Jeremiah Smith, The two share the same grandfather, and they both grew up in Florida. Gino has publicly spoken out about how much he is so happy that Jeremiah, his cousin, is playing well, and he hopes to play with him in the NFL one day.
Ooh, boy. Can I also say the new Ohio State quarterback, does it not give you like an old ECW wrestling vibe name, like Just Incredible? It's like Just Insane, right? Like it's a bad indie wrestler name. He's like, here comes Just Insane.
Do you know the story with him?
No, I don't. I got to look into it. I don't know anything. I'm still hung up on loving Will Howard.
Humor me for a minute, okay?
Yeah.
Mr. Cleveland Browns over there. Andy McNamara joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. So for those who don't know, Sane was this massive recruit that Nick Saban landed at Alabama. Well, Nick Saban then retired. Sane did not want to go to Alabama unless Nick Saban was still there. And the new coach, Kellen DeBoer, apparently they met for an hour. He walked out and said, I am transferring immediately.
Whoa. Yikes.
And so if you notice, Alabama's been having some recruiting issues because Justin Sane has tainted the entire pool. He has contaminated the entire recruitment pool because of what he tried to walk it back because, he was like, it wasn't that bad. I don't hate the guy. It's just that he didn't connect with me like Nick Saban did. So he reopened his recruitment to like 20 schools.
Oh.
Ryan Day landed him last year when they had Chip Kelly as the coordinator.
Right.
But where did Chip go?
Right. Is he Raiders?
He is.
Yeah. Raiders. Because we thought Will Howard was going to go there. Yeah.
So then there was this huge thing. Oh no, Justin Sane is going to leave because they thought he connected with Chip Kelly.
Right.
Well, Ohio State purposely promoted from within. You might remember this guy's name. Now, football people remember this guy's name. Brian Hartline.
Former Cleveland Brown. Yep.
He was the wide receiver coach.
Yep.
They promoted him to co-offensive coordinator. And now Hartline and Ryan Smith, the head coach, are going to call the plays this year together because they were so worried that Justin Sane was going to leave.
That's wild. I'm intrigued. I didn't know much about the kid. I'm intrigued now if he was that high of a recruit. But Josh, I just can't get out of my head that is a bad indie wrestler name. I'm sorry. Just Incredible and Just Insane. That's an old wrestling throwback, right? That's awesome. That's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's get back to the NFL. But we're talking about Jeremiah Smith in the last hour. It's like some simpatico. Andy McNamara had no idea that Pam Maldonado was talking about Jeremiah Smith.
That's
earlier. Awesome. Let's get back to the running back. So let me ask you, I'm going to give you 3 names.
Okay.
I want you to tell me which of these 3 names. Again, there's a specific caveat with this.
Okay.
Which of them are you least worried about the wear and tear?
Okay.
All right. So you got Josh Jacobs of the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
You got Alvin Kamara of the Saints. Then you have Aaron Jones with the Vikings. Now we know all 3 are the top running backs for their team.
Yes.
So we know they are the primaries. They are the apex. They are the number 1. There's no timeshare going on with those guys necessarily. But we also know all 3 have different types of wear and tear on the tread.
Boy, no, it's true. And Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones overall had good years, right? And they're all getting older too. I got to say, that Saints team, Josh, that's going to be the first overall pick. They are god awful. Oh my. Like it's a battle between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck.
Yep.
Good Lord. Like this is going to be ugly. Does that benefit an Alvin Kamara? Perhaps because you dink and dunk it, right? I'm thinking I would be most concerned. I'm getting the feeling maybe a little bit of Aaron Jones. And I say that because you have the not rookie, JJ McCarthy coming in. You lean on the running back a bit. I like all 3. I think there is certainly risk, though, with the age and the wear and tear that you said. So that goes to when you're planning your fantasy draft, you have to be prepared. What are you taking first? Because if you don't take with your first round pick a running back, and maybe you're at 8, 9, 10, 12, and it doesn't make sense because the top guys are gone, well, then you better make sure you swing back, because if one of those guys is your top, your RB1, because you went wide receiver, you went whatever direction, you got to be crossing your fingers, and then you got to make sure you're backloading a bit on the running back side. You get the handcuff, you get a couple other guys with a bit of upside, because you don't want to be hanging if they go down.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation, but for some people that might be their only option. So that's why I had to throw it out there.
I got a sleeper for you too if you want.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. So you read my mind. Andy McNamara. We've been doing this for about six years here on 97.3 ESPN. These fantasy football conversations. He joins me every week for all football season here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Do you have a sleeper pick or two that you're telling people, hey, maybe you already got your RB1, or maybe you don't love your RB1, but this could be your RB2. Go.
Yeah. So I got my combine notebook here, Josh. You know I keep my handwritten notes every year.
Yes.
Running backs. And I've been tracking this guy since 2023. Why? Because I was in a college football fantasy league, which I won, and this guy helped me win it. Out of Oklahoma, there's another ring for you. The War Dogs. Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State. Ooh. This guy is going to be a stud if given the opportunity, and the opportunity is coming because he went to the Miami Dolphins, which initially bummed me out. But Devin Achane is injured. Jalen Wright, not healthy. Ollie Gordon time. Check out the size of this guy. 6'1", 3/8", 226. Guy is a bulldozer. 4.6140, not blowing you away, but that's going to be fast enough. Real life time, he is. Smooth strides, I wrote down. Had impressive Senior Bowl, powerful cutter, and decisive. And this guy in 2023 lit it up. You look at his numbers, you're saying, Andy, not too impressed last year because his offensive line all left and they stunk. Okay? So, the Dolphins' offensive line has to come up for him. But with those injuries, that's someone in the later rounds, people aren't going to be talking about it. But I've loved this guy since 2023, and I've been waiting. Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State. With the Dolphins, those two injuries are going to bump him up because right now the only guy behind him is Mike Boone, and no one wants to see Mike Boone.
No.
Sorry, Mike Boone.
No. All right, let's hit on a couple of news and notes before we get out of here, Andy. There's a lot of speculation about what are the Giants really going to do at quarterback. People keep saying they should start Dart. We know that they have seemed to be pretty content or committed, or whatever word you want to use, to Russell Wilson to be the quarterback. How does that impact fantasy football? The Giants quarterback, maybe kind of shuffle, maybe not kind of situation.
Right. Well, you have right now in their latest depth chart, Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart has leapfrogged Jameis Winston to be the second right now. And the thing is, I don't want to be taking any of these quarterbacks as my fantasy quarterback, but who is the best for the people around him? Malik Neighbors, who's banged up. Boy, and outside of that team still stinks, man. Oh, my God. Tyrone Tracy's your top guy. Singletary. Oh, my. Do I want anybody? It's Theo Johnson as the tight end. Darius Slate. Okay. I'll put it this way, Josh. If you're not Malik Neighbors, I really don't want any New York Giants. Like, I don't want any of them, especially not in starting roles. Like, everybody's no good. And so who's going to give Malik Neighbors, because that's the only guy we're interested in, the best chance? And I think that you go professional and you go Russell Wilson. Rookies make mistakes. Rookies throw interceptions, right? Rookies can make big plays, but they're going to make mistakes. Russell Wilson, I think, has proved still. Is he still the dynamic guy? No. He still has the arm, and he's a professional, and I think that's the way you go. You want Russell Wilson to start if you are a Malik Neighbors owner in New York.
All right, let's go to the quarterback fiasco that is Indianapolis. Daniel Jones has been named the starter. Anthony Richardson is the backup. Guys like Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, these are legitimate fantasy football guys. How does the quarterback impact that situation?
Rookie Tyler Warren, real hot shot. I was a bit dismayed when he went to Indy. Look, we know Daniel Jones isn't great. but he's better and more consistent than Anthony Richardson, who is looking all of a bust, just all the bust. So when you're looking at the whole situation, Daniel Jones has flashed in the league. He made the playoffs once, and he can use his legs. In a 2 QB league, in a super flex, Daniel Jones isn't a bad option as your second, right? So to somebody to distribute the ball better, even when Joe Flacco was in there last year, the few games, he was better for Michael Pittman Jr. He was better for those receivers, Josh Downs. I like me some Adonai Mitchell as well. More so as a keeper or dynasty, probably dynasty maybe a little bit later if they get this quarterback situation figured out. But Adonai Mitchell, I think, is going to be a stud if he has the right QB. But for Pittman and Warren, I would just temper expectations for Tyler Warren at tight end. If he went to a team with a more established, better quarterback, I think the fantasy upside would be up. People are talking about him of having like a Brock Bowers year. I'm not there, and I don't think that's going to happen. But he's somebody you want to draft. If you draft Tyler Warren, for example, as your main tight end, draft somebody else underneath. Draft someone a little more boring, a little more dependable, right? And just keep that as an option there. But Daniel Jones is the best thing for that team when it comes to the fantasy weapons.
All right, and finally, let's hit on a team that I think a lot of people are very curious about. At least I am. I can't speak for everybody else. But Cam Ward, obviously, the Titans had some of the worst quarterback play in all of football last year. Now they get Cam Ward. You have Tony Pollard. You have Calvin Ridley. You got some dudes over there in Tennessee. How does Cam Ward impact their situation?
Cam Ward really was the only true QB1 option in this draft, right? Everybody else was a prospect. You got questions. Cam Ward, and people thought the year before he would have been the 5th guy right around Bonet. We don't care about that. Is he good now? By all accounts, the guy's being a leader. The guy's feisty. He's calling people up. He's acting like a pro. And he's acting like a professional. He's mature. So I think it's a good thing, especially when you look at the quarterbacks behind him, Josh. Brandon Allen, Trevor Siemian. Yuck. Ugh. No, we want Cam Ward healthy the whole year. Because like you said, Tony Pollard, people I don't think give him the credit he deserves. He 3 straight seasons of over 1,000 rushing yards. He's not blowing you away, but he can catch the ball too.
Right.
Behind him, Ty Spears. There's not anything that's really scaring you behind him. Calvin Ridley's there. Can he still do it? You added an aging Tyler Lockett. He might be a bit overdrafted. I think he's over the hill. So you got 2 older guys. Ridley can still pop. Van Jefferson is somebody, seems like forever we've been waiting for, of just like, come on, man. And I just don't think he's got it. Never did it with the Rams. And the tight end position, Okonkwo is interesting. And they drafted the rookie Gunnar Helm as well. Okonkwo, again, is one of those tight ends if you wait or you want 2. Okonkwo is someone to keep an eye on. But I think Cam Ward is going to be good for this team. Yeah, he's going to have his rookie struggles. I don't think he hurts a Ridley or a Lockett, but I'll be very interested to see how he distributes the ball. Who does that go to? But I think he's going to be just fine. He's not on my fantasy radar because of the still kind of vanilla weapons overall on that team. But certainly real life wise, I think he's going to be good.
He's Andy McNamara, AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform, at AndyMC Sports on Instagram. The Sick Podcast. Like, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. He's our fantasy expert. Joins us every week here on 97.3 ESPN. And he is 2 years ago was the champion of the 97.3 ESPN Fantasy Football League. And you can be just like us and host our Fantasy Football League at Yuri's in Wildwood, where we will have at least half the gang down there. Guys like you and Casey Joyner, you guys don't live in the state.
You know what? 1 year, maybe next year, if we can do it, I'm going to plan to come down. That food sounds too good at Yuri's. We got to do it.
Yuri's is the best, man. Right there on the bay at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. You can't miss it. They got great seafood over there. They're going to have happy hour specials. If you have your fantasy football league like 97.3 ESPN is, you can have it at Yuri's with great appetizers, excellent food spread put out for you, happy hour, special drinks, and much more. Yuri's in Wildwood is the place to have your fantasy football draft, just like we are this Wednesday. And we will be streaming it live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig, and Andy will be a part of the stream that night, 8 o'clock, by the way. We have to, now you saw the group text, Andy. You are my witness. I told everybody 8 o'clock is not when you show up. 8 o'clock is when the draft starts.
Yeah, don't be opening your computer. And that's for you listeners, too. Be on time. Come on. Be professional. Be a professional fantasy football player. Come on. Let's do it. I can't wait. I'm just going to be jealous about it.
Don't you have a shirt or hat that says that?
I do. I have from, you can buy it, actually. At AndyMC81, pin profile, professional fantasy football player t-shirt. Very comfortable. And fantasy champion with a little crown on it, which is pretty sharp as well. You can see that at AndyMC81 on X.
There you go. See?
Always a salesman, brother. You know it.
Hey, man, listen, I remembered it existed. I just didn't remember where it was.
I should have wore it. I'll wear it for the draft. I'll wear it on draft day.
Love it. Andy, I always appreciate you jumping on. Great conversation. We pushed a lot into a 30-minute conversation about fantasy football today.
Always love it, buddy. All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant, the place to go for seafood, all-you-can-eat crabs, and amazing sunsets, is also the spot to host your fantasy football draft with Yuri's Draft Party Package. Choose from catering-sized platters of jumbo wings, buff tenders, crab balls, coconut shrimp, mozzarella sticks, plus fries, chips, pretzels, happy hour drink prices, draft kit, and swag, just $190. Book your draft party now and plan to watch the game at Yuri's with the NFL ticket and game day specials. Yuri's next to the Boathouse Restaurant at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
When your AC is playing defense in the heat, it's time to call in the pros. Team up with Broadley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air for a new Bryant high-efficiency coastal system built to handle South Jersey summers and salty air all season long. Score 0% financing with no money down, plus rebates and tax credits on select systems. Trust the team that's been serving South Jersey for over 100 years. Call Broadley's, your local factory-authorized Bryant dealer at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Bryant, whatever it takes. Let's go Birds!
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, That escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
All right, Josh Hennig wrapping up the 2 o'clock hour on 97.3 ESPN. As you heard me and Andy McNamara talk about, don't forget we will be having our 97.3 ESPN Fantasy Football Draft Party at Yuri's in Wildwood. Is where you need to go for your fantasy football draft party. The seafood is extraordinary. The value, tremendous. The sunsets on the house, only at Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant and the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Don't forget, you can host your fantasy football draft party at Yuri's, just like us here at 97.3 ESPN is doing this year. You can choose from catering-sized platters of wingdings, buff tenders, crab balls, poppers, and mozzarella sticks, plus fries, chips, pretzels, happy hour, drink prizes, and much more. So book your draft party now and experience the best of the Jersey Shore at Yuri's in the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Third hour of Hanging with Hennig next on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with? It's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Finally,
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Third hour. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Oh, man. We got some more football to get to this hour. We'll recap the Phillies conversation we had earlier in the show at 609-403-0973. Don't forget, coming up in about 20 minutes from now, Larry Goldberg, Boxing Insider Promotions. Great events at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City the last couple of years. He is going to join us because one of the top fighters that have been on those cards. He is now fighting for a championship belt tonight, and Larry will join me to talk about Justin Figueroa, his next upcoming fight tonight, fighting for a championship belt, and Larry will give us more information about his next upcoming event at the Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City in 2025. Before we get to that, we will get into the Phillies right now, and of course, you guys can join the conversation this hour, as always, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And we are streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. So one of the conversations that we've had this week on 97.3 ESPN is about what the Phillies are going to do in the postseason. And I think one of the most interesting conversations within that encapsulated conversation is who should or who is going to be the starting pitchers in the postseason. And this has been a conversation that, Mike Gill and I have been going back and forth about, me and Nick Earnshaw and others. And I just wanted to bring it back around because I think it's a very, very, very important conversation. When you're going into the postseason, I don't care about what traditional sports is. I don't care what you traditionally used to do. To me, you got to go into the postseason with your three best pitchers as your top three starters. Because if Zach Wheeler is unavailable, okay, we are working under the assumption that we have no idea when Zach Wheeler is going to return. I know Rob Thompson made the comment yesterday that, hey, we will hopefully have an update for you next week. All right. Not really sure what the update means, because they could just be telling us, hey, Zach's doing great. You know what I mean? It's not like the update has to be a literal, this is when he's coming back. They could just be giving us updated, hey, Zach's feeling good after his surgery. We don't have a timetable when he returns. I mean, so I'm not going to act like we are going to have all this information on Zach Wheeler always coming back. You got to plan for a postseason without one of, if not the best pitcher in all the National League. I know some people will argue Paul Skeens. Look, Skeens is still finding himself. He is about a year away from being the best pitcher in baseball. He has the talent, but I don't think he's fully there yet. Zach Wheeler is a guy who's going to be greatly missed by this team. So if you are the Philadelphia Phillies, what is the best case scenario with this team? I wrote an article on 973ESPN.com about this. And Todd Zalecki seems to be on the same page as me, as heard yesterday on the Phillies show podcast. Take a listen.
I don't care about balance in the rotation. I don't care about right-handed, left-handed. I'm going for my best three guys right now. I'm going for the three guys that pitched this week in Seattle. I'm going Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, Jesus Luzardo. I'm going to run three lefties out there because they're pitching the best, and they're going to mow them down. I'm going to go in that order, mix it up a little bit. Have Suarez break up the two hard throwers.
I think that's the key to this conversation, because I wrote about this 97.3 ESPN.com. If those are your three best pitchers, it doesn't matter what historically people have done. What matters is this is what might be best for the Phillies. And in a national league that has guys like Freddie Freeman on the Dodgers, guys like Kyle Tucker on the Cubs, guys like Juan Soto on the Mets, guys like Christian Yelich on the Brewers, it might be the best strategy to have your best pitchers be left-handed dealing with some of those guys. Now, I get it. There are some concerns with these pitchers, okay? Christopher Sanchez is really the only guarantee of those three. Ranger Suarez had some horrible starts before the one this week. He looked like the old Ranger again this week against Seattle, but previously he had been giving up 4 to 6 runs almost every start since the All-Star break. But when you think about the Phillies, who do you trust more in a big playoff game? You trust Ranger Suarez. Ranger has the pedigree. Ranger has the cachet and the experience. Then you get to Luzardo. The guy who can't get through the lineup a third time almost every start since basically Labor Day weekend. I have legitimate concerns about Luzardo in the postseason because he doesn't have a lot of experience. But I don't think that lack of experience changes the reality that I need these guys to step up. I need them if they're the best three pitchers. And that's part of what Ruben Amaro Jr. said on the Philly Show podcast. Former general manager Ruben Amaro Jr., former Phillies player Ruben Amaro Jr. said this.
I also have to see really who the really hot hand is. And I got to believe that the hotter hand might end up being Aaron Nola. If it's not, and neither one of those right-handers are really throwing the ball well, then I go with the three lefties.
That's the key, because who is pitching yesterday and today? Taijuan Walker and Ranger Nola this weekend. So Aaron Nola this weekend, and yesterday Taijuan Walker. To me, it's very obvious that basically Aaron Nola is auditioning to pitch in the postseason. There is a literal audition going on when it comes to this organization. They are going to find out real quick if Nola can get back to his original form and be a guy for the postseason. And then when you get to the postseason, you heard Ruben Amaro Jr. say, who's the hot hand? Well, Aaron Nola's first start in his return from the injured list, basically missing almost 2 months. He pitched 2 really, really good innings. The third inning completely fell apart. Now, he gave up a bunch of home runs. There were a lot of, loop balls here, drop balls there, just a lot of, unlucky bounces, but he still gave up 6 runs. So I'm not going to ignore reality, okay? I'm not going to ignore the truth. That is, Aaron Nola did not look good after 2 innings. Now, how much of that is it's his first start back? How much of that was unfortunate circumstances? I don't know. But if Nola's not ready to go, you got to accept that you're going to go with the 3 left-handers. And I know it's not traditional. It's not what people usually do. But there is precedent for it. And I explain this at 97.3 ESPN.com. And I encourage you guys to go check out my full write-up. But to me, there is a direct correlation between the 1996 Yankees and the 2025 Phillies. Because the 96 Yankees also had one of their star pitchers go down with a health issue. David Cohn had to have an aneurysm surgery in May of that year. So he missed most of the year. Now, he returned for the postseason, but he wasn't fully David Cohn at that point. They needed to depend on other pitchers. So they went with 3 guys who started almost every round of the postseason that year. And they were basically their primary guys. To me, Christopher Sanchez is a lot like Andy Pettitte. Guy with not a lot of postseason experience, but has the poise and the stuff to get the job done. Andy Pettitte basically became the ace out of necessity that year for a Yankees team that looked a little hapless going into the postseason in 96. No Cone. Dwight Gooden kind of like stabilized the rotation, but you weren't going to what at that point he ain't the Doc Gooden he used to be. Pettitte became the ace, helped them win a World Series. To me, Sanchez and him, they're similar pitchers with great stuff, intensity, competitive edge, can go deep into games. Ranger Suarez, to me, is a lot like Jimmy Key that year. Ranger Suarez is the guy with the most experience in the postseason on the Phillies of the 3 left-handers. Jimmy Key was the most postseason experience of the lefties on the Yankees team. They are both cool and calm characters. They both can stabilize a rotation. They both have ice water in their veins in the biggest moments. They know how to get through. The wild card in all this is going to be Jose Luzardo. Luzardo has the stuff to be an elite pitcher in the postseason. But he's had trouble getting to the lineup a third time. That was Kenny Rogers' problem in 96 as well. 96 was Rogers' first year with the Yankees, like Luzardo's first year is with the Phillies now. Rogers always had the stuff, but he was never consistent enough that you had a ton of faith in him. Well, Rogers didn't have a great postseason, but he was good enough to help the Yankees get through. And what did they do with Rogers? He didn't pitch 6-7 innings in the postseason. No. They piggybacked somebody else off of Rogers. In many games, that piggyback was Dwight Gooden. And maybe Dwight Gooden for the Yankees in 96 is like Taijuan Walker now or Aaron Nola now. Maybe you go into the postseason and say, look, I'm going to start the game with my Jose Luzardo or with my Ranger Suarez. And then I'm going to turn around and I am going to go with my best right-hander coming out, not out of the bullpen, but warming up like a starter. If I can get 4 or 5 really good innings out of Luzardo and Sanchez each night, and with the way the divisional series schedule allows you not to need a 4th pitcher in the rotation, maybe the game plan is, all right, Taijuan, you are going to be the guy who comes in as almost a starter in the 4th or 5th inning. Same thing with you, Aaron Nola. And now you have a new bridge from the starting rotation to the back end of the bullpen where you will find Strahm, Kerkering, and David Robertson in the 7th and 8th innings leading you to Johan Duran. Or with the blowout, you just let Walker pitch until his arm falls off in the postseason. These are legitimate options. And I know people don't like the idea of having a guy dovetail or piggyback off of somebody else. But the reality is that strategy got the Tampa Bay Rays to a World Series a couple of years ago. That strategy helped stabilize the Dodgers a few years ago. That strategy was a huge part of a lot of teams over the years getting to a World Series and having a chance to win a championship. And if the 96 Yankees can do it and other teams have done it, why can't the Phillies? Who cares about tradition? Who cares about what people have always done? This is the way we... No. I care about winning. I don't care about aesthetics. We got to stop worrying about how it looks, how it feels. Who cares how it looks and feels? How about we care about what makes sense? And what makes sense right here, right now, for a team like the Philadelphia Phillies is to say, if Sanchez, Suarez, and Luzardo are my 3 best pitchers going into the postseason, who cares about breaking up lefties? Who cares about what has happened in the past? I care about winning right here, right now. I mean, you got a mishmash lineup going on in the outfield, for goodness sake, between Kepler, Castellanos, Bader, Marsh, and Wilson. But guess what? If those guys get hot for a game or two, and these pitchers get hot for a game or two, who cares about the aesthetic? Just get to a championship and have a chance to win, because if you don't win this year, you might not get another chance for the next few years. And you know what? If Aaron Nola, who pitches tonight, I believe it's 6 p.m. is the first pitch for the Phillies, and he struggles from now for the next few weeks, you can't start him in the postseason. You can't trust him. And you can't hope Zach Wheeler is just going to come back just to save your season. Speaking of the Phillies game tonight, taking on the Nationals, if you want to watch the Phillies game, you should go to my friends over at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. You want to watch the game with the audio on, go inside to the bar and hang out and watch the game. If you want to hang out outside with some live music in the yard, you can do it there. Or you can chill with some friends on the back deck, watch the game in a more intimate atmosphere. You could do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, the best sports bar in South Jersey on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. Coming up on the other side, we're going to check in with the best boxing promoter in South Jersey, Larry Goldberg from Boxing Insider Promotions, as one of the guys that he has featured on his fight card, the Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City the last 2 years, is now fighting for a championship belt tonight. We will talk about Holy Spirit High School graduate Justin Figueroa coming up next. All that and more. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, and streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
Hey, South Jersey, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike with Evan Canty and Michelle. Weekday mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Listen every day at 3:45 on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill for the unsportsmanlike moment of the day, taking one of the best moments from our show and debating it on the Sports Bash. That's the unsportsmanlike moment of the day, weekdays at 3:45 on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget to listen weekdays starting at 6 a.m. to Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at Yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at Yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
Celebrate the final month of our construction reduction sales event at Matt Black Kia with 0 down, 0% financing, and 0 payments for 90 days. That's right, 0% APR for 48 months on every clearly marked Kia in stock with 0 down and no payments for 90 days. Plus, get up to $3,000 over book value for your trade with the purchase of any new Kia. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. If you have a job clearing $450 a week, then we want to get you approved today. And with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you simply can't make a mistake at mattblackkia.com. It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia. Call 215-703-8526 for details.
Make sure your home comfort is ready this season with Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air. From fast service and reliable repairs to quality installs, Broadlee's has you covered all season so you can focus on the game. Upgrade to a Bryant high-efficiency coastal system built for South Jersey summers and salty air with 0% financing and no money down. Trust the team serving South Jersey for over 100 years. Call 609-390-3907 or visit broadlees.net. Bryant, whatever it takes. Go Birds!
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Go to get your game on at the Fanatic Sportsbook in the Gallery at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go where fans become fanatics at the Fanatic Sportsbook in the Gallery. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath. You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked!
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
The Kitchen Shop has a brand new home at 6422 Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, right next to the Intuition Tattoo Studio. Known for stunning kitchen remodels and now full bathroom remodeling too. They're celebrating with a grand opening artist appreciation and flash day, Saturday, August 23rd from 12 p to 9 p. Stop by to see the new showroom, enjoy food, games, prizes, and live music, and start planning the kitchen or bath of your dreams. Call 609-432-7647 or visit thekitchenshop.net to get started today.
Football is back. Our world champion Birds kick off their season against Dallas Thursday, September 4th. And the place to be? Ventnor Social, Down Beach's newest upscale sports bar. It all starts with the ultimate family-friendly tailgate party at 5:30, featuring a live DJ and food and drink specials to keep you fired up till kickoff. Then watch every play come to life on 27 big screen TVs with a sound system that puts you right in the action. Get in on the excitement at Ventnor Social on Ventnor Avenue in Ventnor. Follow them on Facebook for specials.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back, and I want David Putney.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All my picks back, and I want David Putney just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios on 97.3 ESPN. We're going to take a break from the Phillies and football talk right now. By the way, it's still 7-7 tie game between Iowa State and Kansas State. Let's take a break from all that right now because if you've been listening to us here on 97.3 ESPN, you know that we've had 5 great professional boxing events at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Thanks to my next guest, and one of the headliners from those fight cards has now risen. He was a Holy Spirit High School graduate, Atlantic City lifeguard, and now he is fighting for a championship belt tonight. That is Justin Figueroa, as Larry Goldberg joins me right now on the phone line to talk more about Justin Figueroa, South Jersey's own Larry Goldberg, and South Jersey's own Justin Figueroa, right here with me, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Larry, welcome in. How you doing today?
Hey, Josh, thank you very much for having me on today.
I'm glad you jumped on because it was about 15 months ago when you first sat down with me here on 97.3 ESPN, and you talked about Justin Figueroa. You called him Mr. Atlantic City. You said that this young man was destined for greatness. You laid it all out. You had a vision for what you saw his hard work to be, and now he is down in Texas fighting for a belt tonight.
Well, there was a lot of people involved. I'm not a promoter of record. I'm the promoter of the place in Atlantic City. He's managed by Players First Management, Adrian Clark, and Jolene Mazzone. Jolene was the matchmaker for many years for Cassie Duva and Main Events, which did a lot of the biggest fights in Atlantic City. Justin is coming off of 5. We did his last 4 fights in Atlantic City. He had an opportunity to fight tonight in San Antonio, Texas. He's fighting for the NABF Super Welterweight title. The idea hopefully will be to bring him back to Atlantic City in November. We're looking to Justin's very excited. Justin looks really good in camp, and this is like a really cool opportunity for Justin.
If anybody's been following Justin on social media, I mean, they always joke about being the best shape of your life. He looks like he's in the best shape of his life for this fight. And it's something where you had talked about previously, Larry, about how Justin has the mentality, the work ethic, to not just be a guy who can win a belt, but a guy that other people can look up to, other kids can look up to and say, I can aspire, I can achieve that through hard work like Justin Figueroa.
I mean, everybody knows all the negatives of Atlantic City. So to see somebody who grew up in that environment and work hard, do everything right, and now get an opportunity to fight for the title and do everything the right way, he is absolutely a role model for a lot of the young local kids. And it's a very, very exciting thing to watch Justin as he's grown in the last 2 years, and as he's going to grow in the next 24 hours.
When you think about moving forward, just talk about, for you, because you've covered the sport for a long time before you became a promoter. You have Boxing Insider, the website covering all the combat sports. Talk about, for you, what does it look like, or what do you envision a guy like Justin bringing the belt back to Atlantic City? Like, what is that kind of energy like?
Well, I mean, I think that's less as a media person and more of just a local thing. I mean, there's so few good things that we can point to from our area, and there's a lot of bad that everyone likes to highlight. Justin is 100% the good. And so for him to come back and bring one of the big titles back, the ranking title, and then his idea hopefully will be to fight for, a bigger one next year. But it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it gives something for the kids of Atlantic City to look up to.
Larry Goldberg from Boxing Insider Promotions joining me here, hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Larry, you mentioned the next event coming up. Do you have any new details about your return to the Tropicana showroom in Atlantic City this fall?
Well, no. We're gonna have a big show. We're gonna have we're doing 2 nights again. So on November 7th, we're most likely going to have Justin Figueroa defend the title. And then we have a bunch of surprises that are, on store for the event. But I'm not officially announcing anything because we have to get through tonight. Then we have on the 9th, we're doing the 2nd annual Atlantic City Police Athletic League Amateur Show, where we donate to Tropicana, and Justin and I will be hosting the event, and it will be a local show hosted by the Atlantic City Police Athletic League. It will once again get them a very large grant from the state, and they raise all the money. It becomes their big fundraiser for the year, and it becomes a really good, feel-good boxing show, much different energy and vibes than the pro show. But in between all that, the reason I can't really tell you about the Atlantic City show is we have a giant show in New York City. And one of the fights on the New York City show is Josh Popper, who's from Summers Point.
Yep.
Josh is going to be making his New York City debut on that card. It's September 19th. We also have a new television deal with Sports SNY, which is where the Mets play, and we're hopeful to be able to make an announcement shortly about more local coverage, as we're taking over one of the franchise local boxing shows down here as far as the television rights are concerned.
You mentioned about the New York show. Where can folks watch that fight card coming up in 2 weeks?
I think it's 4 weeks, but it's it'll be live either on YouTube. It'll air on a delayed basis on SNY and somewhere else locally. But we have a big stacked card with Kurt Scooby. We've got a lot of other fighters. But as far as our listeners today would be concerned, is Josh Popper from Summers Point will be making his, this will be his 5th fight. And, he's very looking forward to coming to Atlantic City later on this year as well.
For more information about the upcoming fights, go to boxinginsider.com. Make sure you give them a follow on Instagram and X for all the latest updates, not just on the New York show next month, but also when the official announcements come down in November. And, of course, we will keep you updated as well here on 97.3 ESPN. But, again, Justin Figueroa going for that belt, undefeated, fighting tonight down in Texas, and we look forward to seeing him.
Josh.
Yes.
Let me make sure everybody listening knows this. Go to Justin's Instagram page. If you click on the story, you can watch Justin's fight live around, well, we'll call it 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere in there. But you can watch Justin's fight tonight for free. All you got to do is click on the link on his Instagram page, and everybody needs to watch Justin win the belt tonight.
Justin Time, Justin Figueroa, or as Larry Goldberg likes to call him, Mr. Atlantic City.
Mr. Atlantic City.
Larry, I appreciate.
His next match could be Marty Small. I'm telling you. He's coming for them. He's coming for the mayor and then governor. This kid's going all the way. I'm telling you. But no, seriously, Justin Figueroa tonight on his YouTube page, on his Instagram page, you can watch the fight tonight for free. And sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good. I appreciate you interjecting that because that's information people would like to know. Especially convenient that when the Phillies game is done, people can flip over and watch Justin. So it's good timing.
Good timing, definitely.
Larry, appreciate you calling in today. Take care of yourself, all right?
Thank you so much.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. As I've told you guys before, Larry's done a great job at putting on great events over at the Trop in Atlantic City. You know, the Tropicana is just such a great property to have boxing at. And Larry and his entire team, the Boxing Insider Promotions, put on great shows. 5 shows, 4 of them Justin was a headliner on. And now, like Larry said, if you go check out Justin Figueroa's Instagram, you can get the link to watch him fight live tonight for a championship belt. And, of course, when we got more news about the November events with Boxing Insider Promotions, we will definitely have that information for you, as always, right here with me, Josh Hennig, hanging out with you on a Saturday afternoon on 97.3 ESPN. Just Figueroa, Holy Spirit High School, Atlantic City lifeguard, undefeated boxer, and has now worked his tail off to fight for a championship belt. I'm really looking forward to seeing him win this belt because Justin is the kind of person who you just want to see good things for him. You just want to see some, the positive vibe that young man brings everywhere he goes. He always is positive. He's always got great energy. He just makes you feel better about yourself in so many ways. So I am definitely looking forward to that. All right. We'll get back to the Phillies, Eagles, and football talk coming up on the other side. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM. Don't forget, we are streaming live, as always, on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. We'll check in on text sports, see what you guys have to say about the Phillies, Eagles, and more. 609-403-0970. We'll also get you an update on the Iowa State-Kansas State game. This is a game I was expecting to be a lot higher scoring, and right now, not so much. Not so much on a day like today. You thought there'd be a lot of points scored, and instead, these teams are struggling. These offenses are struggling. We'll get you an update on that front. Things don't change very soon. It looks like my very first pick of the college football season is going to go kaput, but it's okay. We still have another, between now and January to go retrieve that positive winning record in the college football picks. But more of that coming up. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Wow, what's this? New shorts, new shirts, and new boots? Floyd, did you go to the Hub?
I did. They have all the summer clothes I need now that it's getting warmer.
Do they have anything for me?
They do. They've got women's shorts, shirts, boots, and more. It's about time you go to the Hub.
Is it time to get a new pair of work boots? Then it's time to get to the Hub. Let their friendly staff help you pick out a pair of comfortable, rugged, and waterproof boots. The Hub offers a complete selection of boots from Wolverine, Carolina, Georgia, Rocky, Ariat, Carhartt, and Timberland Pro. And be sure to check out their line of clothing from Dickies, Carhartt, Ariat, and Grundens. Get to the Hub, specializing in outdoor gear from brands you know and trust. Visit the Hub inside the Summers Point Shopping Center or on Route 40 inside the Mays Landing Diner Shopping Center. Whether you're regular, big, or tall, the Hub fits them all. Here today, here to stay. Also online at summerspointhub.com. No matter what the season, the Hub's got you covered. They have a full line of apparel for men and women, plus an incredible selection of boots for everyone. Come and check out the Hub in Summers Point or Mays Landing.
Matt Blaney's on 0 down, 0% for 60 months on Rogue, Murano, and Pathfinder. If you have a job paying $450 a week, you're virtually approved today. MattBlackNissan.com.
On approved Tier 1 credit through NMAC, negative equity will be refinanced into the vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers cannot be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or visit MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends September 6, 25.
Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Bull is right. You are an ox and a moron.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hello? Get back in the room.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. We're going to get to the Phillies lineup in just a moment. Just want to remind everybody that, of course, our conversations throughout the day about the Phillies and, of course, our fantasy football 97.3 draft. It will be this Wednesday night, streaming on my YouTube and X platforms at Josh Hennig at 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, it's being brought to you by Yuri's in Wildwood. Yuri's in Wildwood is where you want to go for your fantasy draft party. The seafood is extraordinary. The value is tremendous. The sunsets are on the house. Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant and the Boathouse Restaurant at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. Don't forget to host your fantasy football draft party at Yuri's, just like 97.3 ESPN is doing. We're doing it this Wednesday night, of course, but you can do it whenever you have time with your buddies before the start of the season. Remember, you can do it all the way up to September 4th. I mean, the Eagles play September 4th. You can do it the Wednesday night before. It actually might be smarter than what we're doing, but anyway, still, don't forget, Yuri's is where you want to go for your fantasy football draft, where you could choose from catering-sized platters of wingdings, buff tenders, crab balls, poppers, mozzarella sticks, plus fries, chips, pretzels. Happy hour, drinks, prizes, and more. Book your draft party now and experience the best of the Jersey Shore at Yuri's and the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood. We do have a Phillies lineup we're going to get into right now here on Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Let's get up on the screen for everybody out there. Most of it's pretty predictable, okay? Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Real Muto. Boom. That's kind of been like the steady, consistent lineup they've been doing for a while now. It's after that I find interesting because, you know, we've had a lot of questions about what the Phillies are going to do. Are they platooning? Are they not platooning? Are they just kind of like rolling the dice just to see who's in the lineup or not? Well, they got a lefty on the mound tonight, and we know that Parker is not a great left-handed pitcher for the Nationals, okay? But they go with Castellanos and right. Not surprising because this is a team that, guess what? You know, they don't really want Max Kepler out there against lefties. They've made that very clear. But it's a rest of the line that gets interesting. Bader in center, Sosa at second instead of Stott, which is surprising because Parker's not a very good left-handed pitcher. So you thought maybe they would keep Stott in there. Nope, they're putting Wilson back in. Weston Wilson is playing, but not in left field. He is batting ninth and playing first base. Bryce Harper is your DH. Kyle Schwarber is trotting out the left field. Now, we know that Rob Thompson has talked about in the past about wanting to get Schwarber some games in left field to kind of keep him going. I'm a little concerned. About Harper because why are they putting him at DH? Is he banged up again? Is he having problems again with the wrist or whatever else? I'm trying not to read too much into it, okay? We have not seen an official statement from the Phillies about why he is in the DH, okay? But I'm just a little curious why Harper is suddenly a DH today on August 23rd. Why? What is the purpose of that? That's a little curious. Schwarber in left field. It's Weston Wilson at first base. Again, I'm a little surprised with not a great left-handed pitcher that you have a guy like Stott not in the lineup. You could have put him out there. He's been hitting pretty well lately, but they seem to be pretty committed to this platoon concept, putting Sosa in there against left-handed pitching. So be it. It is what it is. I'm not going to read into it too much, but I do wonder what the purpose of this is. Okay, I'm again, Rob Thompson has not spoken to the media yet as of the I'm double checking right now to see if we have any updates on why Harper might be the DH. All right. The last thing I see is Jordan Romano cut his hair. Okay, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm kidding, obviously. Jordan Romano cutting his hair has nothing to do with this. Obviously. But again, I'm curious. I'm curious as to the reason why this organization is now putting Harper at DH. Now, it might be a situation where Harper just, I don't know, maybe he needs a rest day. Maybe his body is a little banged up. Maybe he overstretched at first base on one of the throws yesterday. I don't know. It's just odd. It's just odd to have it that way. And also, Weston Wilson playing first base, is that going to be an adventure? You know, in the past when Harper doesn't play first, they moved Bohm over there. Now they're leaving Bohm at third, putting Weston Wilson at first base. Is this one of those, hey, let's see what happens kind of experiments? Maybe. Again, not trying to read too much into it. Not trying to get all crazy, right? But it is something to consider. Why Harper is the DH today. And again, with as well as Stott has been playing, I would have thought, again, my perspective, my opinion, that Weston Wilson would be at third, Bohm would be at first, Stott would be at second, but apparently they're sticking pretty intently with the Phillies lineup. Again, Turner leading off with Schwarber in left field, batting to Harper as the DH, third, Real Muto catching 4, Bohm at first, 5, Castellanos in right, then Bader in center field, Edmundo Sosa playing second base, Weston Wilson at first. Again, a very curious lineup for your Philadelphia Phillies. Again, 6 p.m. is the scheduled time for the game tonight. And, of course, if you want to watch the game with the audio on, go check out my friends over at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, the best sports bar in South Jersey, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. We will be in the yard next week. Yes, we are back at yesterday's. We're there once a month from now until the end of the year. We will be back there next Friday. Sorry, next Saturday, I should say. I got my days mixed up over here. You can tell the lack of sleep this week is catching up to me here. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. But in all seriousness, we will be back at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora next Saturday. We will be hanging out with you in the yard, and you should come out and join us. We gave away 3 prizes last week. We plan to give away 3 more prizes this week. So make sure, but you must be present to win any of the prizes we give away each month when we're at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. Of course, they are the official sports bar of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. We will be out there 12 to 3 p.m. So we invite you to come out and hang out with us as we are diving deep into the college football season. But for this weekend, Phillies game tonight, Phillies day game tomorrow. The place you want to be is yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. And don't forget, every Phillies day game. So tomorrow, 1:35. $3 Miller Lights, $1 hot dogs, and other great specials only at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. All right, we got a couple of minutes before we wrap up the show. We covered a lot of ground today. I do want to take a moment to thank all the guests that came on. Larry Goldberg for calling into the show. I want to thank Andy McNamara and Pam Maldonado for jumping on to talk a lot of football earlier in the show. I wanted to wrap it up, though, with a little more Phillies talk because Nola pitching tonight, as I mentioned earlier in the hour here on 97.3 ESPN. This is a huge, huge game for him because if Nola can get his season turned around, if he can start showing some consistency, start looking like the Aaron Nola that we have seen in years past, he will be in the starting rotation in the postseason. I guarantee it. And it's not like he has pitched bad all year long. Nola had a couple games this year where you were like, there he is. That's the Nola. April against the Cardinals. The Cubs game on Sunday Night Baseball. Also, you got to go back to, I believe it was May 3rd against the Diamondbacks. Those are the 3 games earlier this year he started to come around. He started to look like Aaron Nola again. But then he had the rib injury, and then he had the ankle injury, and then they were like, all right, we're just going to shut you down and get you fully healthy for the stretch run. Nola could be the key to a Phillies World Series. Because if Nola can start getting himself back on track, he is going to be a key figure for the Phillies. And you know what? He struggled a little bit against the Nationals in the last start. He had 2 great innings, followed up by a bad inning. But if he can get himself straightened out here, he's got a few opportunities coming up to do it. He's got Washington today, next Thursday when they play the Atlanta Braves. And then after that, he is scheduled to pitch against the Brewers on September 3rd. If those 3 starts, he can start building some momentum. Now we're getting into a conversation about which lefty goes to the bullpen between Suarez and Luzardo. But Nola's got to show up first. The other side of the coin is, what do you do with Taijuan Walker? Because Taijuan Walker has actually become a pretty reliable pitcher at this point. Now, do I want him pitching in a postseason game? No, I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not trying to, sell you guys on Taijuan Walker starting a game in the postseason. But you look at his last several starts. He has allowed 3 runs or less in 6 straight starts. And in each of those starts, he's gone at least 5 innings. We have talked about here on 97.3 ESPN numerous times. Myself, Mike Gill, Nick Earnshaw, and Nick's Nuggets during the week. We have talked numerous times about Luzardo, Suarez, and Nola all have trouble getting to the lineup the 3rd time. Could Taijuan Walker be the guy that stabilizes, say, hey, you tell Luzardo, you tell Ranger, you tell Aaron, you're only going 4 innings. You're only going 5 innings. After that, we're going to go to Taijuan. Taijuan is going to warm up like he's a starting pitcher, and he'll come in the 4th or 5th inning. He'll pitch 3 innings, and that'll get it to the back end of the bullpen. That might be his role, to pigtail off of somebody else, to basically, hey, this guy pitched the first half of the start, he's the second half of the start. It's certainly a possibility, and I think that for the Phillies, you know that your postseason rotation is not going to, pitching staff is not going to have Joe Ross in it. So someone's got to be the long man coming out of the bullpen. And if Walker is this consistent, I think he's earned himself an opportunity in the postseason. But it all starts with Aaron Nola tonight for the Phillies. I'm Josh Hennig, been hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. It's streaming, streaming live on YouTube next at Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody.